Welcome to the hidden wealth coins. Most people spend these coins without a second thought, unaware that one small mistake could turn pocket change into unimaginable wealth. Hidden among ordinary Washington quarters are rare versions so powerful that a single coin could rewrite your destiny overnight. Millions, private deals, silent collectors, and fortunes lost by ignorance. If you own one of these coins, selling it cheaply could be the biggest mistake of your life. First up, the 1970 Washington quarter is one of those coins that quietly sits in drawers, old wallets, and dusty boxes, ignored for decades, yet surrounded by rumors so wild that people believe it can turn an ordinary person into a billionaire overnight. Stories spread like wildfire, claims of secret versions worth millions, coins that banks don't talk about, quarters that collectors would supposedly fight over in silence. This mystery has made the 1970 quarter one of the most misunderstood coins in modern American history, and that misunderstanding is exactly what gives it power. When people hear 1970 Washington quarter, they imagine a normal coin hiding an extraordinary secret. The truth is far more fascinating than fake headlines. In 1970, the United States was in the middle of a major transition. Silver had already disappeared from regular quarters, trust in currency was changing, and minting technology was evolving. These conditions created an environment where mistakes, anomalies, and rare mint events could slip through unnoticed, creating coins that look ordinary to the untrained eye but become priceless under expert inspection. Most 1970 quarters were struck in copper-nickel and are worth face value today. This is where many people get disappointed and give up too early. What they don't realize is that value is not created by the year alone. Value is born from rarity, condition, and abnormality. Somewhere among millions of normal coins, a tiny number escaped the mint with features that were never supposed to exist. Those are the coins collectors hunt for in silence. One of the most dangerous myths is that every 1970 quarter is worth millions. That belief has caused people to sell potentially valuable error coins for pocket change because they never learned what to look for. The real wealth is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It hides in microscopic details: metal composition, strike depth, edge thickness, mint anomalies, and proof characteristics that can only exist when something goes wrong in the system. A flawless 1970 quarter in exceptionally preserved condition can already command serious money, but condition alone is not what creates legendary value. The true game changers are wrong metal strikes, off-metal planchets, deeply doubled dies, and proof coins that escaped circulation paths they were never meant to follow. These coins are not supposed to exist, which is exactly why collectors pay fortunes for them when they surface. Imagine holding a coin that was struck on the wrong metal, accidentally using a leftover blank meant for a completely different denomination. That single mistake transforms a common quarter into a historical accident, a one-of-a-kind survivor of mint chaos. Coins like this don't get priced casually. They are negotiated privately, sometimes years apart, sometimes never publicly recorded, which fuels the rumors of million-dollar quarters. Another layer of mystery surrounds proof coins from 1970. Proofs were made for collectors, not circulation, yet history shows that some proof coins escape their intended path. When a proof coin ends up where it shouldn't, untouched and pristine, its value multiplies because it represents a failure in a system designed for perfection. These are the coins that auction houses whisper about, not advertise loudly. What truly separates a life-changing coin from a normal one is authentication. A coin story means nothing without verification. Many people hold coins that could be worth a fortune but never have them examined properly. Others believe they are rich because of exaggerated internet stories and end up crushed when reality hits. The smart collector lives between hype and truth. The idea that a 1970 Washington quarter can make you a billionaire overnight is not impossible in theory, but it is extraordinarily rare in reality. The value does not come from fantasy. It comes from a perfect storm of error, preservation, and documentation. When all three align, the market stops using normal price logic. At that point, the coin is no longer currency, it becomes an artifact. This is why you should never rush to sell a suspicious or unusual quarter. Never clean it. Never polish it. Never assume it's worthless or priceless without expert eyes. Coins lose fortunes in value the moment they are mishandled. The people who truly profit are patient, informed, and disciplined. The 1970 Washington quarter teaches a powerful lesson. Wealth is not always obvious. Sometimes it hides in the most ordinary object you've touched 1,000 times. But believing every viral claim will not make you rich. Understanding what actually creates rarity might. In today's market, collectors don't chase years, they chase stories backed by metal and mistakes. A verified, high-grade, rare-error 1970 quarter can command jaw-dropping prices, but only when it proves it deserves them. That is the difference between legend and reality. So if you have a 1970 Washington quarter, don't panic and don't celebrate too soon. Look closer. Study it. Respect it. Because while most are ordinary, a microscopic few carry a history so rare that selling them cheaply would be the real tragedy. And remember, true fortune doesn't come from believing myths. It comes from recognizing truth before everyone else does. Second up, the 1980 Washington quarter is one of the most whispered about coins in modern American currency, not because it was meant to be special, but because it exists at the center of confusion, rumor, and misunderstood rarity. People hear stories of ordinary quarters turning into unimaginable wealth, of a single coin changing a person's destiny overnight, and the year 1980 keeps resurfacing in those stories. This coin feels ordinary in the hand, yet extraordinary in the imagination, which is exactly how legends are born. In 1980, the United States Mint was operating under intense pressure. Inflation was high, metal costs were rising, and production speed mattered more than perfection. When systems prioritize quantity, small mistakes slip through, and history shows that it's precisely during such periods that rare anomalies are created. The 1980 quarter was struck during this environment, making it a silent witness to rushed processes and overlooked details that collectors decades later would desperately hunt for. Most people assume that if a coin is valuable, it must look old or silver-rich, but the 1980 Washington quarter breaks that assumption. Its value, when it exists, comes not from age or shine, but from what was never supposed to happen. A tiny number of these quarters left the mint carrying features that defied standard production, features invisible to casual eyes but explosive in the world of serious collectors. The biggest myth surrounding the 1980 quarter is that all of them are worth millions. That myth spreads fast and dies slow. The reality is harsher but more fascinating. Nearly every 1980 quarter is worth only its face value. The true fortune lies in the rare exceptions, the coins that slipped through quality control with characteristics that cannot be repeated or recreated. Those coins don't scream wealth, they whisper it. Some 1980 quarters show dramatic strike abnormalities, where the design appears distorted, doubled, or unnaturally sharp in specific areas. These are not damage marks, they are mint-born anomalies. When such errors are genuine, verified, and untouched, they elevate the coin from spare change to historical evidence of mint failure. That failure is what collectors pay for, not the date. Then there is condition, often underestimated, often misunderstood. A perfectly preserved 1980 quarter, untouched by circulation, is already uncommon. Time is cruel to coins, and survival in flawless state is a battle few win. When an already rare mint error survives in near-perfect condition, the market stops thinking in hundreds or thousands and begins thinking in life-altering numbers. What truly fuels the rumors of million-dollar values is the existence of coins that were never meant to enter public hands at all. Experimental strikes, transitional blanks, and production anomalies occasionally escape unnoticed. When such a coin surfaces decades later, fully authenticated, it becomes a ghost from the mint's past, something the system never planned to explain. The phrase, billionaire overnight, sounds exaggerated, but in the collector world, sudden wealth is not unheard of. It doesn't happen because someone believes hard enough. It happens because a rare object meets the right buyer at the right moment. The 1980 Washington quarter, in its rarest verified forms, has that potential, not because of hype, but because of scarcity combined with documented authenticity. Many people destroy their own chances at fortune without realizing it. Cleaning, polishing, scratching, or testing a coin ruins its surface integrity. A coin that could have been life-changing becomes permanently damaged in seconds. The saddest stories in numismatics are not about coins that were never found, but coins that were mishandled before their true nature was understood. The market does not reward excitement, it rewards patience. Collectors who profit are those who resist selling early, who verify before believing, and who understand that real value hides behind discipline. A suspicious 1980 quarter should never be rushed to sale, because once it leaves your hands cheaply, it almost never comes back. Another reason this coin carries such mythic power is that many high-value transactions never become public. Private collectors often buy quietly, avoiding auctions and headlines. This secrecy creates gaps in public knowledge, and those gaps become breeding grounds for exaggerated stories, half-truths, and viral claims that mix reality with fantasy. The 1980 Washington Quarter teaches a hard lesson. Not every dream coin is real, but some real coins are beyond what most people dare to imagine. The difference lies in verification, condition, and rarity, not belief. A coin doesn't care what you hope it's worth, it only responds to what it truly is. In today's market, a verified exceptional 1980 quarter with genuine mint anomalies can command astonishing prices, but only after it proves itself beyond doubt. Until then, it is both ordinary and extraordinary at the same time, a paradox sitting quietly in pockets and collections. So if you own a 1980 Washington quarter, don't dismiss it and don't worship it. Study it. Protect it. Question it. Because while most will never change a life, a microscopic few carry the power to rewrite someone's entire financial story in a single moment. Third up. The 1990 Washington quarter sits at a strange crossroads between modern money and hidden legend. It looks too new to be mysterious and too common to be dangerous, yet it has quietly become one of the most talked about quarters among people who believe unimaginable wealth can hide in plain sight. Stories circulate of coins from this year turning into life-changing assets, of collectors paying shocking amounts for something most people spend without a second thought. That contradiction is what gives the 1990 quarter its strange power. By 1990, the United States Mint was producing coins at massive scale, faster and more efficiently than ever before. Automation ruled the process, and when machines take control, mistakes don't disappear, they change shape. Errors become rarer but more dramatic. The 1990 quarter was born in this high-speed environment, where a single unnoticed anomaly could slip past inspections and enter circulation, never meant to be seen again, let alone valued. Most 1990 Washington quarters are ordinary. That truth frustrates many people, but it's also what makes the rare ones explosive in value. Wealth in numismatics doesn't come from averages, it comes from exceptions. A normal coin tells no story. A flawed coin tells a story the mint never wanted to tell. And collectors pay extraordinary prices for stories that cannot be repeated. The myth that every 1990 quarter is worth millions has caused more harm than good. People either dismiss the coin completely or cling to unrealistic dreams. The real opportunity lives in the middle ground, where curiosity replaces belief. Only a microscopic number of 1,990 quarters possess traits that push them into legendary territory, and those traits are invisible to anyone who doesn't know how to look. Some of the most valuable examples are born from moments of mechanical confusion, misaligned strikes, doubled impressions, abnormal pressure marks that reshape Washington's portrait in unsettling ways. These are not scratches or damage from use. They are fingerprints of malfunction, frozen in metal. When such anomalies are verified and untouched, they transform a face-value coin into a silent witness of mint failure. Condition plays a brutal role in this story. A coin can be rare and still be worthless if time has been unkind to it. The 1990 quarter is young enough that pristine examples exist, but old enough that flawless survival is far from guaranteed. When rarity and near-perfect preservation collide, pricing logic begins to dissolve. At that point, collectors are no longer buying metal, they are buying survival against odds. One of the reasons million-dollar rumors exist is because some coins were never supposed to reach the public at all. Special strikes, test runs, or production anomalies occasionally escape without documentation. When one of these resurfaces decades later, fully authenticated, it doesn't fit neatly into catalogs. That uncertainty is what inflates value. The unknown is more powerful than the known. The idea of becoming a billionaire overnight sounds like fantasy, but sudden financial transformation is not unheard of in the collector world. It doesn't happen through hope, it happens through verification and timing. A rare 1990 quarter meeting the right buyer at the right moment can create numbers that shock outsiders and feel unreal even to professionals. What destroys more fortunes than bad luck is impatience. People clean coins to make them look better, not realizing they're erasing microscopic evidence that proves authenticity. Others rush to sell to the first buyer who shows interest, unaware that true collectors move slowly and pay quietly. A single careless decision can turn unimaginable wealth into permanent regret. The market for rare coins is not loud. It doesn't trend openly. Many of the highest value transactions never reach public auctions or headlines. Private sales, sealed agreements, and silent collections keep the biggest numbers hidden. That secrecy feeds the legends surrounding years like 1990 and makes the rumors feel larger than life. The 1990 Washington Quarter teaches a harsh lesson: belief does nothing, but understanding does everything. A coin doesn't become valuable because someone says it is. It becomes valuable because it proves it shouldn't exist the way it does. That proof must survive scrutiny, skepticism, and time itself. In today's market, a genuinely rare, authenticated, high-grade 1990 quarter with undeniable mint anomalies can reach astonishing values. Not because it's common, not because it's old, but because it represents a moment where perfection failed and history forgot to clean up the evidence. So if you have a 1990 Washington quarter, don't throw it away and don't worship it. Treat it like a question, not an answer. Protect it, study it, and never let excitement replace patience. Because while most will never change a life, a rare few carry a quiet power capable of rewriting someone's future in a single transaction. And that is why the most dangerous coins are never the ones everyone is talking about, but the ones almost everyone ignores. Fourth up. The 1992 Washington Quarter is one of those coins that feels too modern to matter, yet too surrounded by rumors to ignore. People pass it every day without a second thought, unaware that this single year has become a quiet magnet for unbelievable stories. Stories of sudden wealth, hidden mistakes, and coins that slipped through the system carrying secrets worth millions. The danger of this coin isn't that it's rare, but that it looks ordinary enough to be underestimated. By the early 1990s, the U.S. Mint had entered a new era of speed, automation, and cost efficiency. Human eyes were slowly replaced by machines, and while technology reduced many errors, it also created new kinds of failures. When something went wrong, it went wrong perfectly, repeated across a small number of coins before anyone noticed. The 1992 quarter was born in this environment, making it a perfect candidate for silent anomalies. Most 1992 quarters are worth nothing beyond face value, and that truth is uncomfortable for people chasing overnight fortune. But real wealth in coin collecting has never come from the majority. It comes from the exceptions, the coins that were never supposed to exist in the form they do. The difference between a worthless quarter and a life-changing one can be so subtle that only trained eyes would ever catch it. One of the most powerful myths is that value is obvious. In reality, the most valuable 1992 quarters don't look flashy. Their power hides in microscopic details, unexpected metal behavior, abnormal strike pressure, design distortions that don't match damage patterns. These aren't accidents caused after circulation. They are manufacturing mistakes frozen forever in metal. Some 1992 quarters reveal doubling so precise it almost looks intentional, as if the design briefly lost alignment with reality. Others show strange surface textures or depth variations that break every rule of standard minting. When such traits are verified and untouched, the coin stops being money and becomes evidence, proof that perfection failed for a moment and left something behind. Condition turns rarity into legend. A rare error coin that has been worn down by years of handling loses much of its power. But when a rare 1992 quarter survives in near-perfect condition, untouched by cleaning or abuse, it becomes something collectors chase obsessively. Survival is as valuable as the error itself, sometimes even more. The rumors of million-dollar values don't come from fantasy alone. They come from coins that don't fit cleanly into known categories, pieces that raise more questions than answers. Coins like these often avoid public auctions and instead move through private deals, where prices are never announced and stories are never confirmed. Silence is what fuels the legend. The phrase, billionaire overnight, sounds exaggerated, but sudden wealth does happen in rare object markets. It happens when an item with extreme scarcity meets someone who understands its significance better than the rest of the world. In that moment, normal pricing logic collapses. The 1992 Washington Quarter, in its rarest verified forms, has the potential to create exactly that kind of moment. Ironically, the biggest threat to fortune isn't rarity, it's impatience. People clean coins, scratch them, test them, or sell them too quickly, destroying the very evidence that makes them valuable. A coin can survive decades only to lose everything in a few careless seconds. Many life-changing coins were ruined before their owners ever knew what they had. True collectors don't rush. They observe, authenticate, and wait. They understand that hype fades, but verified rarity grows stronger with time. A suspicious 1992 quarter should never be treated casually, because once its story is erased, it can never be rewritten. Another reason the 1992 quarter carries so much mystery is that the highest prices rarely become public knowledge. Private collectors prefer anonymity, and the most extreme deals happen behind closed doors. This creates gaps in information, and those gaps turn into exaggerated stories, but those stories often begin with something real. The lesson of the 1992 Washington quarter is brutal but honest. Belief creates disappointment, while understanding creates opportunity. A coin doesn't become valuable because someone hopes it will. It becomes valuable because it proves it shouldn't exist the way it does, and survives long enough to be believed. In today's market, a genuinely rare, authenticated, pristine 1992 quarter with undeniable mint anomalies can reach numbers that sound unreal to outsiders. Not because it's common, not because it's old, but because it represents a moment where the system failed quietly and never corrected itself. So if you own a 1992 Washington quarter, don't ignore it and don't glorify it. Treat it with discipline, curiosity, and patience. Because while most will never change a life, a microscopic few carry the silent power to rewrite someone's destiny in a single, irreversible decision. And the most dangerous thing you can do is assume you know which one you're holding. Fifth up, the 1997 Washington quarter lives in a dangerous space between modern money and hidden legend. It is new enough that people dismiss it without hesitation, yet old enough to have accumulated stories that refuse to die. Some call it just another quarter. Others whisper about versions so rare that their value no longer makes sense in normal numbers. That contradiction is what makes the 1997 quarter unsettling, because the greatest fortunes often hide where no one bothers to look. By 1997, the U.S. Mint had reached peak efficiency. Coins were produced faster, cleaner, and in larger volumes than ever before. Perfection was expected, not hoped for. And when perfection becomes routine, failure becomes invisible. The rarest and most dangerous mistakes are not obvious errors. They are subtle deviations that pass inspection because nothing looks wrong at first glance. The 1997 quarter was born inside that illusion of control. The uncomfortable truth is that almost every 1997 Washington quarter is worth face value. That reality turns many people away too early. But real numismatic wealth has never belonged to the majority. It belongs to the exceptions, the coins that violate expectations quietly and survive long enough to be noticed. A common coin is boring. A common coin with an impossible feature becomes a problem the market is willing to pay to own. The legends surrounding this year didn't appear randomly. They come from coins that show characteristics no normal production process should create. Slight but undeniable doubling that doesn't match wear. Unnatural depth in the strike that reshapes Washington's profile. Surface behavior that suggests the metal itself behaved differently for a fraction of a second. These are not accidents caused after circulation. They are moments where the mint lost control. Some 1997 quarters appear perfectly normal until examined closely, where the design reveals tension, as if the coin tried to become two things at once. These anomalies are unsettling because they resist easy explanation. When such a coin is verified and proven untouched, it stops being currency and becomes evidence. Evidence is what collectors truly pay for. Condition is the silent judge in this story. A rare anomaly in poor shape loses its voice. But when a rare 1997 quarter survives in near-perfect condition, with original surfaces intact, it becomes something collectors obsess over. Survival itself becomes part of the value. Time is ruthless, and any coin that defeats it gains power. The idea that million-dollar coins exist is often mocked, yet the market repeatedly proves that extreme scarcity combined with authenticity breaks pricing logic. Coins that don't fit established categories create uncertainty, and uncertainty creates competition. Some of the most valuable pieces never appear in public auctions. They change hands privately, quietly, leaving behind only rumors and disbelief. That secrecy is where the billionaire overnight fantasy grows. While the phrase sounds exaggerated, sudden wealth does happen when rarity meets recognition. It doesn't come from believing stories. It comes from owning something real before the world agrees on what it is. In that narrow window, a rare 1997 quarter can feel limitless in potential. Ironically, the greatest enemy of fortune is excitement. People clean coins to make them shine, not realizing they're destroying microscopic proof. Others rush to sell, afraid the opportunity will disappear. In reality, true value grows with patience. A coin mishandled is a story erased forever. Serious collectors move slowly. They distrust hype and demand verification. They understand that the market doesn't reward noise, it rewards proof. A suspicious 1997 quarter deserves caution, not celebration. Once its surface is altered or its history compromised, no amount of regret can restore it. Another reason the 1997 quarter carries such mystery is that many high-value deals remain invisible. Private collectors don't announce purchases. Museums don't always disclose acquisitions. What the public sees is only a fraction of what exists, and that absence of information feeds both exaggeration and genuine possibility. The lesson hidden inside the 1997 Washington quarter is simple but unforgiving. Belief is worthless without evidence. A coin doesn't become valuable because someone wants it to be. It becomes valuable because it proves it shouldn't exist the way it does, and survives long enough to convince experts. In today's market, a truly rare, authenticated, pristine 1997 quarter with undeniable mint anomalies can command astonishing prices. Not because it's old. Not because it's common. But because it represents a silent failure in a system designed to never fail. So if you have a 1997 Washington quarter, don't spend it carelessly and don't worship it blindly. Treat it like a question waiting for an answer. Protect it. Study it. Because while most will never change a life, a microscopic few hold a quiet power to rewrite someone's future in a single, irreversible moment. And the real danger isn't missing the fortune. It's destroying it before you ever know it was there. Sixth up. The 1996 Washington quarter is one of the most dangerously misunderstood coins in modern American currency. It looks recent, familiar, and harmless, which is exactly why it has fooled so many people. While collectors chase older dates and silver shine, rumors quietly surround this year. Stories of hidden versions, silent mistakes, and coins that slip through the system carrying a value so extreme it feels unreal. The 1996 quarter doesn't demand attention, it waits for ignorance. In 1996, the United States Mint was celebrating continuity and control. Production numbers were massive, technology was advanced, and quality standards were believed to be airtight. When a system becomes confident, even arrogant, it stops expecting failure. That is when the most valuable anomalies are born. The 1996 quarter came from a moment when perfection was assumed, not questioned, and history shows that assumption is always dangerous. The painful truth is that nearly every 1996 Washington quarter is worth only face value. That fact causes disappointment, but it also hides the real story. In numismatics, wealth never comes from the average. It comes from the coin that shouldn't exist as it does. One wrong step in the minting process, repeated only briefly before correction, can create a coin that breaks every expectation attached to its year. What makes the rare 1996 quarters powerful is not age or beauty, but contradiction. Some display strike behavior that doesn't align with normal production logic. Others show design doubling that cannot be explained by wear or damage. These are not mistakes created by circulation. They are errors born in the moment of creation, sealed into metal before anyone noticed. To the untrained eye, these coins look ordinary. That is their camouflage. Their value hides in subtle distortions, depth that feels wrong, symmetry that almost works but doesn't, surfaces that tell a story of pressure behaving unexpectedly. When such features are verified and left untouched, the coin stops being money and becomes physical proof of a system failure. Condition is the ruthless gatekeeper of fortune. A rare anomaly in poor shape loses its authority. But when a rare 1996 quarter survives in pristine condition, untouched by cleaning or mishandling, it becomes something collectors fight over quietly. Survival itself becomes part of the rarity. Time spares very little, and what it spares gains power. The whispers of million-dollar values don't come from fantasy alone. They come from coins that refuse to fit neatly into known categories. Coins that raise more questions than answers. These pieces often avoid public auctions entirely, moving through private negotiations where prices are never announced. Silence is what turns reality into legend. The phrase, billionaire overnight, sounds reckless, yet sudden wealth has always existed in rare object markets. It doesn't happen because someone believes a rumor. It happens when rarity, authenticity, and timing collide. A verified, exceptional 1996 quarter entering the right hands at the right moment can trigger numbers that feel impossible to outsiders. What destroys more potential fortunes than rarity is impatience. Coins are cleaned to look better, scratched to be tested, or sold too early out of fear. Each of those actions erases evidence that can never be restored. Many life-changing coins didn't disappear, they were ruined by their owners before they were understood. Serious collectors are not emotional. They are cautious, skeptical, and slow. They understand that hype fades but verified rarity grows stronger over time. A suspicious 1996 quarter deserves restraint, not excitement. Once its surface integrity is lost, no story can bring its value back. Another reason the 1996 quarter carries so much mystery is that the public never sees the full market. Private collectors prefer anonymity. Museums rarely disclose acquisition details. What people see online is only a fraction of what exists, and the gaps between facts become breeding grounds for exaggerated stories, some false, some rooted in truth. The real lesson hidden inside the 1996 Washington quarter is unforgiving. Hope creates disappointment. Understanding creates opportunity. A coin does not care what you believe it is worth. It only responds to what it can prove under scrutiny. In today's market, a genuinely rare, authenticated, near-perfect 1996 quarter with undeniable mint anomalies can command astonishing prices. Not because it is common, not because it is old, but because it represents a moment where absolute control briefly failed and left behind evidence. So if you own a 1996 Washington quarter, don't spend it carelessly and don't idolize it blindly. Treat it like a question waiting for an answer. Protect it. Study it. Because while most will never change a life, a microscopic few carry the silent power to rewrite someone's future forever. And the greatest mistake you can make is assuming you already know which one you have.